Bretonia has the smallest roster in the game, and they seem to be compensating for something because every single unit is either holding a halberd, spear, or a lance, so make of that what you will. Their lord options begin with something as fantastically imaginative as a lord. However, he does come with some nice abilities. He is blessed by the lady, which gives a 12% damage resistance in 30 meters around this fellow. Now, that would be exceptionally powerful if he could buff powerful units. Also a 15% missile resistance. The standards of deadly onslaught, foe seeker, blah blah blah. So very standard lord. However, the blessing of the lady is kind of a difference. Then we have King Louis Lioncoeur and Barded Warhorse, Royal Pegasus, Hippogriff, and Beatrice. So Beatrice is a flying hippogriff, slightly different than a griffin. King Louis comes with fair terror, missile resistance, the same blessing of the lady as the lord, beloved son of Brettonia, making him immune to psychology, and it also affects allies in range. Pretty good. Ladies champion, regeneration. This guy is a beast. He will lose head on to some of the more powerful lords in the game, like I was about to say Sigmar, but I'm of course thinking about Karl Franz. Still very, very powerful, and in the right engagements, the blessing of the lady can be extremely useful. For your heroes, you have the paladin. Nothing special about the paladin, really. Unless I'm missing something. I don't think I am. If I am, let me know. Then we have the damsel, or the damsel, or of the lady. Magic resistance can be somewhat useful. She has spells from, let's see, the lore of heavens, I think. Magic isn't my strongest suit, so I think she has the comet of, let's see, harmonic, roiling skies, aura of the lady, curse of the midnight wind, comet of Cassandra, chain lightning, Uranus thunderbolt, wind blast, and arcane conduit. So the fairly standard debuff spells, and then spell that can be useful against flyers, spells useful against single targets, and spells useful against multiple targets. Fairly standard. Then things get a bit interesting, because Bretonnia compete with Empire for the most cost-effective infantry. The spearmen-at-arms come with shields, 40 armor, and spears with a charge defense against every single unit. Expert charge defense. And the expert charge defense, if you look at the tooltip here, it says this unit negates the charge bonus of any attacker. It doesn't say that it reflects it back on said unit, so that's a substantial change there. Peasant bows. Oh, I almost forgot the halberds. Yeah, standard halberds. Charge defense against all. Same armor. No shield. The high armor piercing damage and bonus versus large of the halberd. Quite expensive, this man-at-arms, compared to the spearman at arms. I'll show you some tests with these units later on. Mounted yeomen, quite crappy, but they can deploy, they can vanguard deploy. So relatively cheap for that. Then we have the Knights of the Realm. This is where things start to become good. Decent armor, good leadership, slow. They're a slow unit. Decent charge bonus. Charge bonuses are much lower than what they were in Itzilla. So 54 charge bonus, that's good for being in Total War Warhammer. Fairly low weapon strength, low armor penetration, and although it says anti-infantry, that is more due to charge bonus and mass than it is due to not having a bonus versus infantry, because they do not have a bonus versus infantry. The Grey Knights are heavily armored, same weapon strength, no bonus versus infantry, only 10 armor piercing, but their attacks are magical. So that means that against something like Wraiths, immaterial units, they will do all the damage. The damage doesn't get reduced. So they are powerful, they are immune to psychology, but considering what you pay here, Knights of the Realm are usually the better pick. Because you can get one Knight of the Realm and one Mounted Yeoman for the price of one Grail Knight. Mounted Yeoman archers, fairly short range, and small unit size, vanguard deployment. I've yet to see skirmish cavalry used to great effect in Total War Warhammer. The Pegasus Knights, anti-infantry as well, but again, due to the charge bonus, mass, so on and so forth. Decent amount of armor, decent amount of men / Pegasus or Pegasi per unit. Their stats are not great. Their speed is high, so this unit will be able to take down war machines and stuff with relative ease, but considering the price and considering how easily flyers are taken down by something like spearmen and archers, the Pegasus Knights can be a risky pick. Then we have the Field Trebuchet, which is relatively affordable artillery, and that's about it. So with Bretonia, you can bring a few different armies. You can, for example, full spear line, full archers. I keep misclicking there. Knights of the Realm. So as you can see, you're bringing a relatively big army here. Put King Luan on Beakize and a Field Trebuchet, for example. So with Bretonnia, you're bringing a full stack. You have 6 cavalry units, you have 6 archer units, and you have 6 infantry, together with a Field Trebuchet for sniping any monsters or what have you. So this army is going to be not going to be too vulnerable against flyers. It's fairly defensive, so it's about getting the enemy main body of infantry cavalry to engage the spearmen at arms, sniping important targets with the peasant bows, and dealing the damage with the Knights of the Realm. You have a few other options. You don't have too many other options as Brettonia. You can do something relatively crazy, which I do not recommend, but it's there should you want it. You could bring infantry spam together with Knights of the Realm, or you could bring a lord and not bring King Luan, but I would bring King Luan. Also flyers, very nice for the lords. You could bring the damsel if you want. Put her on a horse to make her a bit quicker. And yeah, but this is where things start to get a bit like, you kind of, in my opinion, you kind of have to go Knights of the Realm. You could of course go Mounted Yeoman as well. So basically there aren't that many viable options for Brettonia. I've yet to find good use of the for the Grail Knights and for the Pegasus Knights. I'm sure they can be made to work. It's just that I find I'm paying too much. I would rather have one mounted yeoman and one Knight of the Realm instead of a Grail Knight, or one Knight of the Realm and two of the spare men-at-arms for the same price. So Brettonia doesn't have that many units, fairly obvious. A fairly lackluster faction in terms of variety, but although their army compositions are simple, lacking most types of most factions have a lot of monsters, war machines. Brettonia doesn't have any of that. But considering those things, they still come with decent cavalry and decent peasant bows, which can be used to good effect against some of the big baddies in the Warhammer world. Strength and honor.